What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another Detroit Lions video. Now, the Detroit Lions and the Jacksonville Jaguars do play tomorrow at 1 p.m. And, I just wanted to go over my last-minute predictions, my predictions for the game, how I think the game is going to go, what stats, what, maybe player milestones are going to be achieved, and just kind of things like that, basically just my prediction for this game and how I think this game is going to play out. Now, before we do get into this video and talking about how I think this matchup between the Lions and the Jaguars will unfold, if you are new to the channel and are enjoying this Detroit Lions content, consider liking the videos and subscribing to the channel. It only takes 2 seconds out of your day, and it helps me push this channel out to more Lions fans and more football fans such as yourselves. So if you could do that, I would be greatly appreciative for it. But with that being said, let's get into talking about these Week 6 game predictions and how I think the Lions are going to play when they travel down to Jacksonville this Sunday. Now, the first thing that I have as my prediction is kind of my, hot take, kind of my bold prediction of the game, and why this might not happen, why this might be unlikely to happen. I do think there is a possibility that, and maybe not a likely possibility, but I do think there is still a possibility that this does happen. Now, my first prediction for the game, for this Week 6 matchup, is that the Detroit Lions defense, their front seven, goes off in this game. And I think the Lions get 4 sacks on the game. Now, the Jacksonville Jaguars on this season are not a very good pass protecting team, as I mentioned the other day. They've given up 16 sacks in only 5 games, which averages out to about 3.2 sacks on Minshew every single game, every single week. So, it's not like the Jacksonville Jaguars have this elite pass protection on Gardner Minshew. And, the Jacksonville Jaguars are one of the worst pass protecting teams in the league right now. So I don't think that it is a stretch that all the individual talent on this team can get home to Minshew quite a few times. Now, who do I think is going to get these sacks? I'm not sure exactly, but if I had to guess, and these are going to be the players I think do get sacks, I think Romeo Okwara will get sacks. He has been, the Lions' probably most efficient pass rusher so far this season. He has 2 sacks on the season leading the team. I think he gets 1 more in Jacksonville this Sunday. I think Trey Flowers returns, and I think he gets 2 sacks on the season, or on the game. I think that this is going to be very much like the Giants game last year, where, Trey Flowers was kind of struggling, and then that Giants game was really his launching point and was really the game that he turned everything on, turned everything around, and kind of got back on the right track. He got 2 sacks in that game and kind of propelled it to the rest of the season and started playing much, much better. I think that this Jacksonville Jaguars game is going to be much like that New York Giants game from last season. And then I think Julian Okwara gets a sack on the game as well. Now, you might be looking at that and say, okay, well, why Julian Okwara? Why is he going to get sacks? Well, I saw something the other day that the Detroit Lions coaches or somebody in the Detroit Lions building put out a quote that said that Julian Okwara's time is coming. And, if you look at that, if like I do, I've been saying and I've been pleading for the Lions to start Julian Okwara and give him more opportunity for quite a while now. And, with that quote coming out this week or last week or whenever it came out, that tells me that they are going to try to get their 3rd-round rookie more involved. And I think that, he's only had 25 snaps in the first 4 games. I think that he gets much more. I think he gets maybe even a majority of snaps in this game. And even through 25 snaps in the first couple of games, he still made some impactful plays. He's still, forced a sack or 2. He still put some good pressure on a quarterback. So, giving him more of a workload, giving him more of an opportunity to do something with, the talent and with the ability that he has, I think that he takes full advantage of it. And I think that he does go out and gets a sack along with his brother this weekend. And I think that those 4 sacks, getting constant pressure on Gardner Minshew, is going to be what helps the Lions propel themselves to a 2-3 record to start the season. Now, my second prediction is one that I think is very likely that it is going to happen, and I think that Matthew Stafford gets 2+ touchdown passes this week. And that, obviously, if you haven't heard the stat, that would make it so that Matthew Stafford has scored a touchdown against every single NFL team, at least 1 touchdown against every single NFL team in the league. So, if he does score a touchdown this weekend, if he does pass for a touchdown, then Matthew Stafford will have passed for a touchdown against every or all 31 other franchises in the NFL, which is quite an accomplishment for a quarterback to do. The Jaguars have shut Matthew Stafford out of the end zone in the past two meetings, the previous two meetings between these teams. Obviously, the Detroit Lions did win both of those games, but the Jaguars did unfortunately shut out Matt Stafford, and Matt Stafford has not passed for a touchdown versus the Jacksonville Jaguars as of yet, although he has been very close numerous times. Now, Matthew Stafford might not be having the best season. He might not be having his MVP campaign like a lot of Lions fans thought he was going to have, but Stafford is not having a bad season by any means. He still has a pretty good touchdown to interception ratio. He hasn't been shut out yet this season. He's thrown touchdowns in every single game, and in fact, the last time that Matthew Stafford was shut out was Week 6 of the 2019 season against the Green Bay Packers, and even then, that wasn't really his fault. In that game, I know TJ Hawkinson dropped a touchdown. I'm pretty sure Kenny Galladay dropped a touchdown. Like, there was a lot of opportunities for the Lions to put that game away and to score a lot of passing touchdowns, and for Stafford to have a lot of those touchdowns on his stat sheet. But, there was a lot of drop things. There was a lot of things that didn't go the Lions' way in that game. And, that was the last time Stafford went without throwing a touchdown. But again, that wasn't really his fault. That was more on his wide receivers dropping a couple really, really nice throws by Stafford in the end zone. And, Stafford so far might not be having an elite season, might not be having the season we all expected him to have, but Stafford is not having a bad season either. Stafford is still throwing for a lot of touchdowns and a few interceptions, and this Jacksonville Jaguars passing defense is not a very good one. This Jaguars defense so far averages gives up over 2 passing touchdowns a game on every single game. They average giving up at least 2 touchdowns a week, which obviously isn't very good for a passing defense throughout 5 weeks. I believe they've given up 11 passing touchdowns in only 5 weeks. So, this passing defense hasn't been very good for the Jaguars. They give up a lot of yards. They give up a lot of points through the air. And I think that Matthew Stafford in this wide receiving core are built and they are equipped to take full advantage of that scenario. I think that the Lions roster, I think the Lions weapons and Matthew Stafford are going to be angry. They're going to try to get back on track. They've had an extra week to prepare. They're going against a very weak secondary and a very struggling secondary as of right now in the Jacksonville Jaguars. I just think this is a good chance for Matthew Stafford to have one of those games that we know he can have. I think this is a game where Matthew Stafford could throw for 350 yards, maybe 2, 3, maybe even 4 touchdowns on the game. And I think this is a game where Matthew Stafford and the offense gets right. I think this is a game where the passing offense can put up big numbers, the Lions can put up big points, and they can just continue to stack drives, yards, touchdowns, points. And I think this is a game that, as I said yesterday, this is a game the defense can use to get right, but I think this is a game all around that the Lions should dominate. The Lions should have a really good game in all 3 stages of the football game, and I think this is a game that this passing offense should absolutely dominate when it comes down to the leading factors of this game. I think the passing offense is going to be where a majority of our yards and points come from. Now, the last thing that I think is going to happen, my last game prediction for this week, is I think that the offensive line gets back to their dominant form, and I think that they absolutely pummel and absolutely humiliate this Jacksonville Jaguar front 7. Now, a couple weeks ago, I made a video titled Detroit's Surprise Dominance, and that was about the offensive line playing really, really good football. They were keeping Matthew Stafford upright. They were keeping him pretty clean in the pocket. They were giving our running backs a lot of yards and a lot of yards before contact, and they were playing very, very well. They were playing fantastic football. Now, in the past couple weeks, weeks 3 and 4, they didn't play as good. They took a little bit of a step back as, some guys were rotating, some guys were shifting positions, and they were kind of reequating everything as an offensive line. But I think this week is the week that the Lions offensive line gets back to that elite play. Obviously, unfortunately, Frank Ragnow is injured with a groin injury. He is questionable for the game, but Frank Ragnow is a fighter. He is going to play in the game if it is possible. Like, if Frank Ragnow can physically run, if he can physically snap the ball and block for his quarterback, he is going to be playing in the game. I have no doubt about it. He is going to, if he can play, he's going to play. Like, that's just his personality. That's the player he is. If he has the ability to do something on the field, if he has the ability to go out there and play for his team, he's absolutely going to do it. Joe Dahl is expected to return this week as well, which means we can move Jonah Jackson back over to right guard if we need to, and then we could obviously kick Big V back out to right tackle if necessary. Obviously, those all being assuming that Frank Ragnow is playing. And if Frank Ragnow is playing, then our offensive line is finally going to be at 100%. We're finally going to be at full strength, at least as far as personnel, and we're going to have the best 5 offensive linemen on the field with Taylor Decker at left tackle, Joe Dahl at left guard, Frank Ragnow at center, Jonah Jackson at right guard, and Big V at right tackle. And we will finally have our full first string offensive line out there to protect Stafford. Obviously, this doesn't work if Frank Ragnow's out, if Joe Dahl has to move over to center or, whatever does have to happen, then obviously this offensive line might not be as good. But, even if Frank Ragnow isn't healthy, I still think that the Lions offensive line can have a really good and very productive day versus the Jaguars defense. Now, the Jacksonville Jaguars defense has not been the same since that 2017 season, and this season it has been one of the bottom ones in the NFL, at least as far as a front seven perspective. They only have 5 sacks on the season, which is the same as the Lions. However, they have played in one more game than the Lions. The Jaguars have given up over 683 yards on the ground, over 5 touchdowns, and they do average giving up over 4.6 yards per rush attempt. Now, those 683 yards rank the 5th most in the NFL. Those 5 touchdowns are 13 most, and the rushing yards per play is 12th most in the NFL. So the rushing defense isn't good. The rushing defense, I wouldn't say is horrible as far as touchdowns and yards per play, but they do give up a lot of yards. They do give up a lot of, yardage on the ground. They do give up a lot of big plays on the ground. And I think that even a offensive line in Detroit that is not quite at full strength still has the ability to run block really well, still has that ability to push guys off the ball, and still has that ability to open up a lot of room in the run and the pass game for our players to just have a lot of success this week. As I said earlier, I think this is a game the Detroit Lions should dominate. I think at every single level except maybe one, the Lions have a clear advantage. I think our quarterback is better. I think our running game is better. I think our offensive line is better. Our receivers are better. Our secondary is better. Our linebackers might not be better. I think our defensive line from talent perspective is better. I think that our special teams is better. I think the Detroit Lions are the much more talented team. I think that they dominate. If you compare position to position, I think that the Lions dominated everything but linebacker. If you are the better team at 90% of the positions on the field, you should absolutely win the game. You should absolutely win the football game in dominant fashion. And I think that's what the Lions should do. And I think that, if the play calling is good, if the coaching is good this week, it's a rare occurrence in Detroit, but it has occasionally happened. If we do have good coaching, if we do have good play calling, that's exactly what's going to happen. The Lions are absolutely going to dominate this game. And, if you look at who the Jaguars have lost to as well, they gave the Bengals their first one of the season. They gave the Texans their first one of the season. They gave the Miami Dolphins their first win of the season. Like, the Jaguars have lost to a lot of really poor teams, a lot of teams with only 1 or 2 wins on the season. Like, they've lost to some poor teams, and the Lions have lost to some very good teams. They lost to the 4-1 Bears. They lost to the 5-0 Packers, or the 4-0 Packers, whatever they are, the undefeated Packers. They've lost to the 3-2 Cardinals, or they beat the 3-2 Cardinals, and they lost to the 3-2 New Orleans Saints. So, they've lost to a lot of winning teams, and the Jacksonville Jaguars have lost to a lot of losing teams. So if you look at the level of competition, how both teams have played, and how these two rosters stack up, I think the Lions have a clear advantage, and I think the Lions should absolutely dominate this game. They should get pressure on Minshew. Stafford should have a really good game, and the offensive line, assuming Frank Ragnow is healthy, should absolutely dominate this Jaguars front seven that is arguably more underwhelming than the Lions front seven, which is saying a lot, because the Lions front seven is not good in any way. And, if anything, the 2 front sevens, the 2 pass rushes and rush defenses are very close. And, obviously, we know how bad our defensive front seven is. If the Jacksonville Jaguars are even close to that, that is something the Lions can absolutely take advantage of and absolutely use to, propel us through the rest of the season. This is a game that, as I've been saying, the Lions should win. They should dominate. And I think this is the game that the Lions use as their launching point. This is the game that they're going to look back on and they're going to use as a experience. They're going to use it as an example. And they're going to say, okay, we're going to use this game. We're going to dominate. We're going to get our stuff together. We're going to get everything right. We're going to get everything perfect. And then we're going to go into Atlanta and hopefully win that game. All we got to do is give them a 20-point lead in the 4th quarter and we'll be fine. Then we're going to go into, hopefully Indianapolis with a little bit of momentum, and maybe we can get something rolling as the season progresses. But this is a game the Lions should win. I think this is a game that the Lions do win, and I think that this is the launching point. I think if there is any point in the NFL season where the Lions are going to start turning it around and start making some noise in the NFC, this is the game that it has to happen. They've had extra time to prepare. They're getting a lot of their star players back. They're getting a lot of really good talent back on the field, and they're playing a very bad Jacksonville Jaguars team that is not really particularly good at any facet of the game right now, isn't really top 10 or elite at anything. So, if the season has a turning point, it's this week, and I think that this week is going to be a great opportunity for the Lions to go out and get a statement win in the NFC, for Patricia to get that statement win in the NFL and say to fans, I'm not ready to leave this job just yet. I'm not ready to fold over. I'm not ready to just lay down and accept my fate. I'm going to go out swinging, and if I can get this team a couple wins here and there and maybe have a little bit of chance to at least coach till the end of the season, that's exactly what I'm going to do. So with all that being said, though, that is all I got for you guys today. If you are new to the channel and are enjoying the content, as I said in the beginning, please consider liking the videos and subscribing to the channel. It only takes 2 seconds out of your day to do so, and I would be greatly appreciated for it. It would help the channel out a lot. It would help me grow and push this channel out, and it would help more than you could know. So if you could do that, take just those 2 seconds it does take to like and subscribe. I would be greatly appreciated for it. But with all that being said, that is all I got for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day. If there is Lions news before tomorrow, then I will obviously make a video letting every single person know. But if there is no Lions news, then that is all I got for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all tomorrow with more Lions content. Bye, guys.